and it's an honor to be speaking at GAMIP AGM, an organization whose members are working tirelessly for establishing ministries and infrastructures for peace in the world. This is a campaign near to my heart, as I have discussed it at length in my latest book, How Not to Go to War, Establishing Departments for Peace Worldwide. The book examines scandalous wars and insane military spending, and also outlines the infrastructures for Department for Peace and why this radical idea should be adopted by every country in the world. Dear friends, the aim or the goal of GAMIP campaign and the message of my book is the same. That is to establish ministries, departments for peace everywhere in the world. I compare GAMIP campaign on par with anti-slavery or the abolitionists of the 18th century, Abraham Lincoln being the most famous one, the women's rights movement, the civil rights movement, and more recently, I CAN, which is the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons. There is one thing common in all these campaigns, which is the pressure of public opinion made the governments to legislate into bills and finally treaties and laws, except ICANN, which is happening not far from now. In my presentation today, I will highlight what is the infrastructure for peace, and describe that this great institutional concept supported by UN resolution and UNESCO Declaration of Culture of Peace, and give two examples of Costa Rica and Ethiopia, which have successful departments for peace, and suggest that we in GAMIP need a well-organized campaign to take forward this great idea to the next level, to be adopted by each country in the world. For this, we have to make this concept a mainstream idea, to push it to the next level to make it happen. Dear friends, it's a shameful fact that every country in the world has a war department or defense department, but only few have a department for peace. And violent conflict, as we all know in the peace movement, is the main central obstacle to attainment of peace. According to World Bank, 1.5 million people live in fragile and conflict-affected areas in 90 countries. Many of these are caught up what I call violence trap. And as we all know here, the cost of the conflict runs into trillions of US dollars. And we live in a world of paradox, where grave problems of oppression and violence occur, and at the same time, we live in a world of much good and potential. Although we cannot bring change overnight, but we can take substantial steps to reduce oppression and violence. On the principle that prevention is better than cure, the world requires an urgent push for our idea of infrastructures and ministries for peace. So let me summarize what infrastructure for peace is. It is processes, policies, and institutions that help design, support, and enhance social resilience to violence and build sustainable peace. It's a network of interdependent systems resources, values, and skills held in joint cooperation, led by the government, civil society, and community institutions that promote dialogue, diplomacy, and culture of peace to prevent conflict, violence, hate, divisions occurring in our society. In short, it is a crisis prevention and recovery mechanism from violence and conflict. So architectures for peace can be described in many different forms and activities, such as organizing a national dialogue, establishing a network of local mediators, providing quiet support for national efforts to reach a political agreement, assisting with implementing with an early warning and response system by governments and civil society organizations, supporting advocacy campaigns for peace, and establishing or strengthening peace committees at all levels. These are some of the uh, functions of, but I'll go a bit more in a sec. But I want to emphasize that the role of GAMIP as an organization is to design a bill, a blueprint, or a roadmap of policies and regulations that support the establishment of peace or infrastructure in different countries, suitable to their specific needs. Why the bill is important? It is because it is the bill or blueprint is like a ready-made meal for governments to eat instantly, warm it up and eat it, making it easy for them to create ministries and departments in their relevant countries, with appointing a minister for peace and development and Secretary of State for Peace. I'm in UK, United Kingdom, working with the Shadow Minister for Peace and Disarmament. And these infrastructures will include peace committees, national peace building platforms, conflict analysis and early warnings and response systems, a, a peace building unit, a bill on infrastructure for peace, building national capacity for peace, and promotion of a shared vision of society. And we have to have a budget and monitoring mechanism if the infrastructures for peace or departments for peace are working in the right direction. In other words, creating and building blocks for more effective system to violence. So some other functions for these ministries will be realizing arms conversion, promoting peace, diplomacy, international law, general and complete disarmament, monitoring elections and assisting in preventing violence, engaging youth in peace activities, establishing truth and reconciliation commissions in countries who are coming out of conflict, and working with uh, 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 ensuring the participation of women, especially in national and local peace infrastructures, and assisting countries with the latest technology and other innovative initiatives of peace building. So, in other words, talking about the comprehensive architecture from local communities to state, provincial, national, regional, and global levels, doing peace work and advocacy with projects, programs, and actual institutions to enhance and implement peace. So, dear friends, these infrastructures for peace resolution is supported by UN UN resolution and culture of peace culture of peace declaration. So, as you are aware in this knowledgeable audience, that we have got countries like Solomon Island, Costa Rica, Ethiopia, Afghanistan, Nepal, South Sudan, East Timor, who have ministries for peace. So we can build on the foundations of these, adopting non-violence mode of action for establishing ministries of peace in other parts of the world. So, dear friends, the peace movement must establish a strong institutional base from where to take this project forward. Because, why? Because war has been institutionalized, and we need to institutionalize peace to go forward. So I want to leave the audience in concluding remarks with three ideas. One, that GAMIP should develop a blueprint, policy and regulations for infrastructures for the governments to follow. Second one, a template for all GAMIP and similar peace organizations throughout the world to take this project forward. And lastly, that have a brainstorming session for to take this idea forward and achieve it. So, dear friends, the publication of my book, How Not to Go to War and Establish Departments for Peace and Peace Centers Worldwide, are steps in the right direction, which will spread non-violence and culture of peace. This will ultimately put an end to a culture of militarism, violence, and war. This is an aspiration for which I'm willing to devote the rest of my life. Thank you.